my black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white, yeah, it's black and white, we're just black and white, it's my black and white, it's my black and white scarf.
Hello, and you're very welcome to the Town End podcast. It's season 5, episode 34. We're getting there, getting right through this season. It's another disappointing visit to the Midlands for Dundalk Football Club, as once again we've come away this time with a frustrating draw. Not a loss this time, I suppose, but still in a game where you think we definitely needed to pull all 3 points to have a bit more of a celebratory game maybe next week at Finn Harps. But Steph, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this the hard way.
Yeah, never do it easy. I thought in your intro there you were going to say another disappointing guest I have on and say it was me. But look, never do it the easy way, the Dundalk way, I suppose, at this stage.
It's I suppose when you take in the weather and everything else, it was going to set up to be this sort of a game, wasn't it? It was never going to be free flowing. It was, we're the ones with everything on the line, Athlone, nothing else to play for. Probably not that surprising that it end up in a frustrating draw.
Yeah, one of them ones where you're sort of delighted you got the early goal and you're thinking, just if we can just make more of the conditions in the first half. I thought we were a little bit cautious. Obviously, if you're just thinking of the bigger picture, you're saying they're settling for 1-0, and if we get another chance, we get another chance instead of really, going for the knockout blow, getting a second one. I think if we had got a second goal in that first half, then it would have been extremely difficult for them to get it out of the game, because they might have overcompensated and pushed too many forward in the second half, where, just for them to get it out of the game, it could just take a shot from distance or a free kick from the edge of the box, unfortunately.
That's very specific.
Yeah. So, look, I think we mentioned the win was a massive factor. Even like their keeper was kicking from box to box at one stage, and it didn't even look like he was smashing them at times either. But look, it was serious conditions to play in. Even some of the clearances were nearly coming back on top of the lads. It's a difficult one to play in, but we probably have to try and push home an advantage in the first half, and we have it. Like, obviously we'd a couple of chances as well, but you would like to see a few more shots on target, even from distance, because when you have that sort of a win, then it becomes unpredictable for goalkeepers.
Just to go right back to the very start, I suppose Mayowa coming back in after suspension and Tracy coming in for Groom. I suppose with regards to Groom, he was probably just indicative of the middle of the park not working last week, and he seemed to be the one that kind of got hooked at halftime for some of those changes. And I suppose with Sean Spate, you don't want to overload him in games like this as well. He seemed to have a real solid performance last week, so Mayowa coming back in there is probably a straightforward enough 2 changes there.
Yeah, I think so. And look, we conceded a couple of goals last week, and Mayowa's been ever present all season. So look, I don't think it's any surprise to see Mayowa coming back in. I thought Spade done reasonably well last week. He did have a tricky opponent to deal with, but like you say, like, be throwing these kids in at 16 is great for them to get any sort of experience. And I'd say Kilduff's probably looking at it going, it's an away game, like we'll need the experience. And obviously, like, look, Mayowa's played for a couple of seasons now. He has that experience under his belt, so it was no surprise to see him coming in. And then I suppose, like, we're looking at Groom as, in the first half of the season, as probably one of our best players, standout performance, and for one reason or another, it just hasn't really, the performances haven't matched up the second half of the season for whether it may be injuries, just a bit of a loss of form, or just circumstances going against him. Yeah,
I think last week he played in a deeper role, and it probably just didn't suit him as much in his style of play.
Yeah, it's such a strange one, because I think he's outstanding. I think he's excellent, and the performances we've seen just haven't really matched up to what we've seen. And maybe he was the master of his own downfall. We were expecting, him to continue on that rich vein of form, and he just looked so comfortable, so much time on the ball in the first half of the season. But yeah, look, it's just one of them things. I think he's a quality player, and yeah, for whatever reason, he came off last week and then doesn't start the game as well this week. So, I suppose Love just picks the team, and he has to stand by it. Then whether it's right or wrong, he has to come out and face the music if it's right.
But I suppose at least Dundalk got away on the front foot, getting that early goal. We've probably seen over the past few weeks McDaid get into really solid positions just without that end result of a goal. Took his chance. Took Dundalk's first real chance at a match too, to get us ahead. Sloppy enough, it's kind of gained possession, lost possession, but then a neat little triangle to kind of work himself into a bit of space there. I think it was with Tracy, and then once he pulls it off, gets the early shot off. Looks like a little nick off the defender, maybe taking an extra wee bit past the keeper. But I suppose sometimes when you get your shot off early, that's the luck you get.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've seen McDaid, some excellent build-up play. He's got a couple of goals as well, obviously, but you were waiting for him to sort of click into gear at some stage. He's probably been unlucky, whereas he's had a couple of really good efforts that have just sailed wide, or keepers have saved, and he has been a good addition. He's definitely bolstered that attack, and especially with Hogan being out injured a few times as well. He's really come in and stepped it up. And yeah, look, I think, like you say, he was out in the left, and he wins it and he loses it. But the 1-2 was brilliant, and then to take the shot off, I think the keeper probably is going to be a little bit disappointed. But yeah, it was a great strike, and we'll take them all day. I suppose you were sort of, rubbing your hands together, thinking, yeah, happy days, we've got a lead here, or something we really wanted to get ourselves up front, and you were sort of hoping that we'd kick on from there. But yeah, a couple of missed chances that proved costly then in the end.
I think Gali's gone full Spanish. He's gone over to Spain for a couple of days, and suddenly he's fluent already. Buenas noches.
He looks Spanish.
Like you said, the probably real disappointing thing is that we didn't kick on. It only really became obvious the longer that first half went on, how strong that wind was and how much benefit you were going to have when you were playing with that breeze. Probably two biggest opportunities in that first half. Probably Ruby's header at the back post, kind of looping over. You're looking for him to be a bit stronger on that one, I suppose. We've seen, only last week that and the previous week, good strong headers from him and getting himself into right positions. And probably Owen Kenny's one at the end of that first half, the 1-on-1. We last time I think myself and Gali were talking, and Pingu before that, even when Owen gets himself into a really good position and he hasn't got too much time to think about it, he seems to be able to rifle them into the net. Sometimes the longer he has to think about it, whether he just gets himself into a bit of a muddle on it, but more often than not, he's not able to take those chances. And unfortunately, that's what happened here at the end of the half.
Yeah, I think the Ruby one's a bit unusual for me. I don't know whether I'll probably have to watch it back, but it looks like he's already jumped and then he's landing or coming back down when he's heading it, and it loops over instead of getting a good purchase on it. And look, we've seen him score a cracker of a header against Bray, and the two boys worked well for that goal. And obviously he's he's flying at the minute. Like, you know, he's deservedly in that number nine spot, and he's taken over as top goal scorer in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, it's great to see him, you know, really kick on, because he had his injury troubles and we thought he was going to be a flying winger, but he's converted into that number 9 goal scorer that we needed. But yeah, look, I think the Uncanny one, I think it probably shows that the likes of the Premier Division teams have that left-footed player on the right wing and the right-footed player on the left wing, and when it comes into those sort of positions, that it's natural for them facing the goal on their stronger foot, and they're able to, you know, position themselves well. It's always more difficult if you're on the right hand side and you're coming in your right foot to try and finish it. But yeah, like, just with how well he's been doing and the goals he's been getting so far, you're sort of expecting him to finish that. Even, you know, make the keeper work a bit more. Like, if you can just smash it, even he's done so well over the last couple of weeks. They're the sort of chances that to bring him on to the next level, you're looking for him to finish them now. And look, I'm sure he's going to be gutted in the dressing room as well, like, more than anybody. You know, we go 2-0 up there, I think, game, set and match pretty much. So it's going to be a tough one. Like, it's going to play in his mind, and hopefully he can right the wrong next week against Finn House.
Yeah, definitely. So we go in leading at half time, but probably not taking as much control in the match as we would have liked. Me and you talked at halftime. We talked about how much this breeze and the weather was suddenly changing, and how much that could be in effect in the second half then as well. It's very early into that second half. There's a couple of chances straight away for Athlone. They seem to be able to adapt to these conditions a lot quicker. You know, 2 or 3 of them I know are straight at Pete. There's another one, he kind of stands up really, really well. But it's like 5-6 minutes into the second half. It's not really the way you wanted that second half. And I'm sure Kieran and Ken would be kind of saying, looking for more of the same as they were in the first half. And suddenly there's a bit of an onslaught. They're hanging balls up into the air. They're attacking them. And they're really using these conditions to their best of their ability, Athlone. Yeah,
and look, they were getting the ball to the right players. Did a couple of very strong runners with the ball, and like, it's only a matter of knocking it by the player that's marking you, and like, you're running with the wind on your back, you're away. So it's always difficult for defenders, even them launching balls, like you said before, the goalkeeper going box to box. And like, I think we got fortunate with a couple of bounces running back to us. But yeah, it's always going to be difficult. I do think, just looking at it, that the wind did pick up, and then the rain comes into it as well, and you know, it's a slicker surface and you're playing against it. And once or twice, you know, we tried to walk the ball up the pitch on the ground, and you know, we were sort of getting a bit of joy to that, but it was just getting to a certain point, and then it was breaking down and they were turning over. But like you said, you know, for them to be creating a couple of chances early, you weren't saying writing on the wall, but you were sort of starting to get a bit worried, and every so often peeking from behind the sofa to see if it was still 1-0. Like, I think, you know, Aaron Connolly done really well in there. He was driving them forward. He has that. I'm sure they've missed him. He had a serious injury, I believe.
Yeah.
And you know, I think he really drove them on. And look, they probably missed him massively throughout the season. And yeah, it's a hard one when you're trying to defend that win. And you know, I know they're probably taking each game as it comes, but in the back of your mind, you're probably going, don't lose, or you know, don't lose this lead. And you know, once you start thinking like that, and their tails was up, everything was just going for them in the second half, and then we're saying, oh, why didn't we just push on a little bit more, or take another chance in the first half? So look, it's a difficult situation when you're out in the pitch, and it was pretty much ball after ball. Even if we had a good chance or a good spell to get forward, it was just coming straight back on top of you, and they just
Yeah,
had to go. They just had to go route one. Like many
I was going
times.
to say that's once they gained possession of the ball, it was usually a long ball to get them back down the other end of the pitch, and they could do that instantaneously with that sort of a breeze tonight.
Yeah, and even look, if the ball runs out for like at one stage, it would have been some rugby match because the ball has been kicked into touch so many times. But look, even if the ball was going down for a throw in our own half or a goalkeeper's kick out, like it wasn't really working to our advantage,
Yeah.
because we still had to try and walk it out. So, like even yourself, if you're playing the match and you're under pressure, you try and go long or you try and clear your lines, but it was just coming straight back on top of them. And then obviously, the pressure told then with the free kick from the edge of the box.
But even just before that, we talk about kind of soaking up some of the pressure, and one of the few times we were able to really counter attack at the start of, or should I say, halfway through that second half was when the ball broke to Dervin then on the edge of the box, and he drove one low and hard, and you're just looking for it kind of to skid the right direction, I suppose. In that sort of a night, it gives the keeper absolutely no chance, but it pings off the inside of the post and back out again. How's your luck on a night like that sort of a thing, isn't it? You're on the edge and you're thinking, just hit it. It's that sort of a night and see what happens. But unfortunately for us and for it just thunders off that post and straight back out again.
Yeah, he struck a cleanly great strike. He probably couldn't have done much more.
No.
Coming off the outside of his right foot, just caught it sweetly. Great strike, and then 99 times out of 100 probably hits the post, and you see the net rippling like it's a goal. So yeah, look, I think he's extremely unfortunate on that one, and yeah, like that goes in as well. You're counting your chickens, so
yeah.
Little moments like that, all the little moments like that seem to just go against us in the second half, and ever since the goal, I suppose we didn't get any bit of rub of the green, ball falling here, or a misplaced shot, and then obviously the inside of the post does this as well. So how's your luck?
That's it, exactly. Garbutt and Groom come on kind of in and around the 70-minute with Parashev and Tracy making way. A tough night for Parashev there tonight. I suppose those sort of conditions don't lend to his game very well. It's a kind of a blowy, slippery sort of a night. It's hard to get the ball to stick to your feet. He does find himself in the right positions a few times, but just maybe it was conditions, maybe a pitch or something like that. It just didn't seem to suit him tonight, though.
Yeah, and look, he didn't do anything overly wrong either. But yeah, like you say, it's a knife for grafting and getting stuck in, and playing percentages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, everyone has their strengths, and some people can do things better than others. And yeah, it's I'm sure if he had to pick the conditions tonight, he wouldn't be picking the gale force breeze or the lashing rain, and definitely not Athlone either.
No, definitely
Don't
not.
like that Midlands at all.
No. I'm sure if any of the Dundalk lads will pick it, it's not in the Midlands. Then disaster strikes, Steph. It's it seems a bit kind of pandemonium in the defense. The loss of ball, it comes straight back up to us. 3-4 players in the way, legs every which way. Like I said, it's one of those things. Maybe on the night, you're just scrambling, trying to reach around and clear the ball, and it's a lazy leg maybe at that stage from Vinnie Leonard that takes the man down. But there's so many opportunities before that, probably to cut that ball out. That's the disappointing thing.
Yeah, it's probably a case of they're scrambling to try and prevent it and get it clear. And yeah, look, I think
there's enough people back there to have dealt with that, really, not have give away the free kick.
Yeah, totally totally preventable. Like it's, geez, yeah, like Vinny has been foot perfect nearly all season, and he's rightfully so got his plaudits for it, and there's been big interest in him, and he's international recognition and fully deserved. And like look, it's a night like that. It's a tough one to give away, because then essentially it leads to the equaliser, and a hell of a strike. He struck it well, and you were just hoping it might have just gone over the bar. There was certainly no stopping it or nothing. Nothing could be done about the strike. But yeah, look, if it's that close and you have that win behind you, but it was nearly like a penalty kick. What I was sort of thinking, if he gets this on target, we're in big trouble here. But yeah, look, it's a tough one, because you're sort of getting away with it the whole time. And like you mentioned, there's a couple of shots where Peter makes a couple of good blocks, and a couple of balls just run away at the end from a couple of the Athlone players, and you're sort of you keep looking at the clock, hoping it goes double time, but just runs out quickly. But then then like they scored the equaliser, and we start showing a bit of urgency again, and we look to try and get the winner. Or it's a total flip. Like you're just thinking, like, if we had shown a bit of urgency earlier, we might have pushed on and got the second goal. But all ifs, buts, and maybes now at this stage.
Yeah, like at the end of that game, kind of did turn into a real scramble. We kind of talked about when you might see Horgan in this needs must. I suppose last week they thought halftime was the time to bring on Darrell. Perfect conditions for it. Probably seeing space and for him. Probably dreading when he had to use Darrell. If he needed to use Darrell tonight, he kind of held off till 75 minutes or thereabouts for it. But even Darrell struggled to really make his mark on the game. But like finding those positions as per usual out wide to whip in the ball, but it's blown away. I suppose more often we seem to be kind of overhitting a couple of crosses, trying to recycle it again on the second movement maybe after that. Like it didn't suit anyone tonight, those conditions. Yeah,
and I assume like he's nowhere near fit to play the start of the game, or play the majority of the game, unfortunately. And he's one of the players that we've really heavily relied on the last couple of months. Goals, assists, his play, his leadership, everything. I just thought tonight he come on, and like last week he looked like he was energetic, and he was
fired up for it.
Yeah, he was making a few bursts, and he was getting crosses into a box and things like that. But tonight I don't know whether it was the conditions or whatever, but he just looked a bit
playing it inside himself somewhat, isn't it?
I think he looked like he was injured. Unfortunately for me, he looked like he was injured, and he wasn't the mobile self him to be, and those balls running away from him, and he wasn't hunting like he normally does. So look, that was alarm bells to me, saying he's not right here. So hopefully he can play some part next week, because we will need him.
Was it a roll of the dice last week with him? It worked. Roll of dice this week, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, it's probably different circumstances. Obviously, 1-0 down at half time, but you're in Oriel, the conditions are good. You're having the home crowd cheer you on. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably look, he'll know himself. The backroom team, everyone will know themselves to get his quality on the pitch. They obviously thought it was a must, even if he's not 100%. And look, it's not always going to pay off. Last week it did. This week, it obviously doesn't. But look, we just hope he gets himself right, or gets as close to full fitness as he can. Just because he is such a big player for us, not only just his talent, like his leadership as well. Obviously, you've seen him the last couple of years really grow into a real leader of the team, and probably a few eyebrows raised that he was captain at the start of the year. But look, you can't
Nobody's
question.
questioning that now. Yeah.
There'd be nobody questioning that now. And obviously he always was, one of the star players of the team. But it's really, really, really good to see him progressing into that leadership role. We probably didn't see as much of it because he was away from Oriel Park. But yeah, look, it's fantastic to see him there, and hopefully we're getting his hands on the first division trophy, and if it's not next week, the week after.
Don't you be jinxing us now, like Gally.
I know.
Like Mark Harlan just said there, we're probably unlucky not to let another goal in, but the big two chances probably fall to Dundalk at the end of the match. Norman Garbutt probably doesn't realise how much space he is in at the back, and you're looking for probably a stronger touch on your header. It kind of glances off him more so than him meeting it. He probably could have done one or two things with it. But then Owen Kenny's header at the very, very end as well. We're talking, either end of the half, Owen having big chances. We've seen him banging a cracking header last week, right place, right time, in front of two defenders. This time the defender jumps with him. Maybe it's hard to angle it back down, but you're thinking because he's made the contact, you're just looking for him to put the head through it again, but not to be this time.
Yeah, we're watching at home and we're all saying, the both should score them headers. Easier said than done. But yeah, look, I think the two of them would be disappointed in themselves for not scoring. I think the Garbutt one looks like he's in oceans of space. He just has to direct it towards goal by any means necessary.
Exactly, anything at all.
And it goes in. I'm not sure. He seems to try and flick it into the corner. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, it's a poor miss. You're just looking
for a stronger connection though, aren't you?
Yeah, you're looking
especially in those conditions. Like, you can't be flicking it or anything. It has to be hard and through.
Yeah, and then the flip side, then Owen seems to get really good contact, and just the direction just gets away from him. But you'd be sticking your house on Owen Kenny to head that into the net from there, or even at that late stage. So yeah, look, I think you just hope we don't rue these dropping of 2 points.
Yeah.
But look, it's most definitely in our hands still. Like Mark Carolyn said, it could have been a whole lot worse. I dread to think if Athlone had got a winner.
I dread me TV, pal.
I was going to say the remote would even get fired at the screen, and I'd be into Eddie Maguire's tomorrow looking for a new television.
Mark, I'm with more good news on our current record against Finn Harbs too. Look, I think the draw was just in amongst those time where we just could not buy a win. We seemed to be throwing away leads all over the place that time. And the loss, look, that was another one of the conditions, a bit like tonight, if I remember correctly, and it was a Monday night game or something like that up there. And look, I suppose that's what we always say: if you can do it on a rainy Monday night up in Ballybuffet, you could do it anywhere. Unfortunately, we couldn't. Steph, couple of bits and pieces coming in. Fintan Kieran just saying on Instagram there, 2 poor performances against the bottom 2 sides. The Killer and his team have a tough work ahead of them this week. It's right when you think about 2 of the more lower teams in the division, and we've come on stuck twice there on 2 visits to the Midlands. Is that just pressure coming at this time of the season, do you feel, or is it something where with no relegation threatening teams down that end, they've got nothing else to play for? You might as well be kind of play with a freeness about it, and all the pressure's on us. Yeah,
sometimes it is a case of you're going out with a free hit. You're not going up, you're not going down. So there's no pressure on you. Both teams are at home as well. I think that helped. Conditions, yeah, it's just one of them things where you can build it up. Dundalk, you can't perform well in every single game, and even the games we hadn't been performing well, we were still picking up wins throughout the season, which have got us into this position. But yeah, look, you're always gonna have games where you look at throughout the season and say, how are you losing against that sort of a team? And
Mm.
um, it, it just happens, certain circumstances. But yeah, when it comes to the last few games of the season, you can throw the phone book out the window. It doesn't matter where you are in the league. It really doesn't. Any
No.
team can beat any team. Like I'm sure Cove will look at the last 10 games and say, how do we lose this game or how do we draw this game? Do you know what I mean? It's just you get to the last game of the season and you get your head in front one way or another. So look, if we beat Finn Harps on Friday night in Oriel Park, nobody's going to be
Nope.
talking about the Longford game. Nobody's going to remember the Athlone game the week before.
Yeah.
That's
It's about getting it
that's
across
just
the line at this stage
that's just
of the season, isn't it?
yeah. By hook or by crook, doesn't matter. Performances, how you do it. Just get across the line. Handball offside, goal from Kieran Kilduff at the end. You don't care.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's it. It's you'll chalk these down, take a point, and move on. Of course, when we're playing Harps next week, Cove are going to Longford away that night. So maybe some of the performances we've seen with Longford against us, maybe they can do us a favour and turn up and perform like that again, and we'll be delighted. The other thing that I seen tonight, there was any concern over us being able to, when we hold the lead, is it a lack of experience or game management coming back to bite us, do you feel, from Jason Crowley?
Yeah, look, I think we've missed a bit of experience in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, it is the makeup of the squad is extremely, extremely young, but like we've been playing these players all season. There's only a handful of boys that's probably over 25. Like you have obviously Cherry, Hogan, Devin. You only have a few of the lads that are
Yeah.
that are really, really experienced. Connor O'Keefe's another one, obviously. You can throw Declan McDade in the last couple of months as well. But yeah, it's not like we haven't been relying on experience all season, and now that it's flipped a wee bit and we've lost a few games, not even lost a game and drew a game, then people will start trying to find answers to it. Obviously, I think probably if you're getting ahead of yourself, everyone's probably one eye on next season Premier Division. Is that where's the experience going to be there? And you probably have to just cross that bridge when it comes to it. I think everyone's probably a bit uncertain. Obviously, we've had a couple of contract renewals who are tied down for the next season or season or two. So yeah, look, I think when everything's going well, nobody looks into anything. If we're winning games, nobody's looking at how bad a performance is, or if we win 3-1, nobody looks at the mistake, the cost, the goal, and whatever it may be. But as soon as you start dropping points, then it's everything's magnified. Everything's magnified, and then everyone's looking to point a finger. But yeah, I think it doesn't really matter how we play next week. If we win the game or we draw the game and Cove loses or whatever it may be, just to get us over the line, I don't think anybody will care too much how we played, or if we don't have enough experience or we too much experience.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Noel Scott came up with the big question. If we go up, what do we need out of this team? Does this team have enough to keep us in the Premier Division?
Right, I'm away. I'm gonna write up a CV, become a director of football for Dundalk. No, look, it is probably the most talked about question with the Dundalk fans the last couple of weeks, when it looked like we were going to win the league or get promoted anyway. Yeah, of course it's gonna need reinforcements. You'd like to think more players that have Premier Division experience,
Yeah.
Premier Division quality. You just have to look
Is there a
back.
spine of a team there currently?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. You'd like to think there was a lot of players there that could either make the step up or they've played in the Premier Division before and they can go back into it. You just like look at last season and like Cork, you know, they go up and you know for like just how they've gone. Obviously they've a cracking result tonight, and they win in the cup semi-final, which I didn't think they would. But yeah, like over the course of a season, you know, they just have struggled badly. And it looks like they're going to go straight back down. So yeah,
They put too much emphasis on the two forwards there. They kind of busted the bank to get them in, and once you get an injury to those two, they kind of buckled their whole season. It was probably gambled on scoring goals.
Yeah, and look, I don't think they've had much luck, and they've had the young lad as well, who everyone's ranting and raving about, getting a bad injury as well. So yeah, you know, manager turnovers and different things as well probably haven't helped them. But yeah, it just hasn't really worked out for them there. I think
the interesting thing though, Steph, when like if we were sitting here, you know, at I suppose at this time last year, we, you know, the likes of a Vinnie Leonard wasn't even on the radar, even when, like as Gally mentioned last week, when we were doing our preseason chat with Kieran and Ken, Vinny wasn't even on the radar then with them. You know, he's really taken this season by storm and kind of shown up probably as somebody now who would be in contention, who you think can probably make that step up. When we were talking about people who were going to nail down, even say in the forward line, Bemi Ruby at that time, we were thinking, you know, because he missed a bit of preseason, he seemed to be a little behind the rest of the guys. Is he going to just play out wide right? Turns out, you know, he was a central player and can lead the line. And we've seen the difference maybe on him now and at the start of the season in his hold-up play and bringing others in. It's massive. You know, so you're seeing that sort of growth and development from these players across this season. I suppose you're wondering, is there another level to these guys in, and can they kick on and help push Dundalk FC on?
Yeah, I think Vinny obviously, you know, we've seen him once last season in the Premier Division, and he looked so comfortable, and you were sort of going, you know, who is this guy? And then he did.
Well, we all kind of thought he would be just like a handful of appearances, maybe. Though
he had the international break, and we didn't see him then for the last game. Maybe I think it was, and you know, he was part of the team that could gain qualification for a major tournament for Ireland. But yeah, even pre-season we were sort of saying, you know, Mayowa and McHale were going to be the two starting centre halves, and we were all excited about how McHale was going to, you know, really use us as a springboard for his own career. And you know, we were all really excited about it. He'd obviously played with Wexford, and unfortunately he's been blighted with injuries, so hopefully he recovers well. And I know he's only on loan, but you never know what might happen next season as well. But yeah, I think, you know, Vinny obviously gets a bit of luck and starts the first game of the season, and then look, he just doesn't look back. He takes his chance, and he doesn't let anybody take that jersey off him. So he's been ever present. I think, you know, there had been a lot of talk about Owen Kenny and how he was going to start to really set the first division alight, and you know, it hadn't been working out for him. You know, he had a lot of doubters, and he's proven those wrong as well.
Yeah,
the last couple of months for me. So obviously he's going to be looking at the Premier Division, you know, rubbing his hands together and
up against
going,
the
I can, you know, yeah, exactly. I can really do this. You know, it's my chance to show what I can do. He's obviously still a young kid, but he's plenty of growth, plenty of learning in him. Same with Finney. You know, there's plenty of lads looking around, and you know, these are the boys that if you're 15, 16, 17, 18, even looking at these boys going, they're after stepping into that. I've come from the exact same place as they are. Why can't
Yeah.
I do it? So if that doesn't spur young kids on, if it doesn't, really give them the drive to step into it, do you know what I mean? There has to be more in the academy structure. We've seen young Vargas getting in pre-season, or was it maybe was it a Leinster Senior Cup
Or
game or
Leinster
something? Yeah,
Senior Cup he played in,
yeah,
yeah.
he scores a penalty. So I'm sure like there's the likes of him and there's a few others sniffing
Probably
about.
didn't see enough for
I think
TJ either this year.
not enough for TJ. We've seen young Platt come onto the bench.
Mhm.
I've not seen him playing yet, but I've heard a few.
Sean Spade, we've seen a bit more often, more recently.
Yeah, like look, there's plenty of young lads there. Like you say, you'd like to bring in a bit of experience as well to bring them on even more and give them that bit of guidance. They've been there and done it, and you hear of a couple of the lads, taking everything in from what Darrell Hogan has to say. I'm sure there's other leaders in that dressing room and boys like Conor O'Keefe, been there, done it.
Yeah.
Sold the t-shirts as well. Do you know the likes of him? Like, like I know he's only 30, 31, but
31, yeah.
vastly experienced.
It's what we
just
needed there for the past few weeks, though. You think probably the change of form was Conor coming back from that concussion.
Yeah, playing right full, playing centre half, filling in a few positions as well. But yeah, I think look, a few people saying, oh, this and that, but we have to like you win one game on Friday night, and then you start looking forward. You win the game Friday night, then you go, right, now we can celebrate and then refocus then about building the squad for the Premier Division. Now,
is that you putting off Mark's next question?
Yeah, I think Mark might have to sell the motor and try and finance a few players for us, maybe.
and I think that's the question is with regards to finances and everything else. You got to secure your status for next year first and foremost. What division are you going to be in? Can you kick on and get promotion? Because that's a different conversation completely. Then either way, I suppose for it, and you're right. Probably all business, all focus needs to be on next Friday in Oriel Park. Gavin McKeever saying, it's a massive opportunity next Friday to win the title at home. What do people want? Look, yeah, exactly. You're right to a certain extent, Gavin. Is this time last year we could only be dreaming of a chance to bounce back and possibly put another title into the old trophy cabinet again. Like we didn't know if we'd even have a club at one stage and where we were going to go. You're right, it's a fantastic opportunity, and if we can do that in front of the home fans, and it gives the home fans a massive opportunity to create that atmosphere and really help push the lads over the line, like we've probably seen in that Bray match where the whole crowd just completely just got in with the team and really pulled them across the line.
Yeah, and you'd hope it's another special night at Oriel Park. We've seen plenty of them over the last couple of years, and we need to get fully behind everyone now on Friday night. Get behind the squad, give them that atmosphere, to give them that one final push to get them across the line. And they've given it to us all season, so it's time for the fans to the fans have been so good over the last how many years.
Big turnout again tonight.
Big turnout, 500-600 maybe down there. A couple of reports back from the boys saying, what conditions it was, but the fans travel in their numbers as well. So, look, I think, Jesus, like when you're looking back at the start of the season, I was sort of hoping we'd be involved in the playoff.
Yeah.
And maybe with an outside shot of actually winning it. But like to be where we are right now, with 2 games to go, a chance to win the league in Oriel Park against Finn Hops on Friday night.
You bite your hand off her.
Bite 2 hands off. Go the whole hog game, so.
Yeah. Look, and that's it. It's a perfect opportunity because I suppose the other flip side of that is you're still looking at that last fixture. For me, anyway, I don't want it to go down there. I want to be able to go down to Cove last game of the season in a party atmosphere that you've wrapped up everything and you can kind of relax somewhat. But that's still looming in the background also, that this potentially could come down to a head-to-head last game of the season. Although we'd be in the driving seats, but you want it wrapped up before that.
Yeah, well, look, if
you got skin in the game, it's not what you want.
I can't, I don't even know how will it come down to 3 points. So what is it, 5 at the minute?
Well, if we were to lose,
if we were to draw and Cove win next week, what does it go to 3?
Yeah,
it goes to 3. So fuck me. You wouldn't want them winning by, what is it? The goal difference, we've a 5 better goal difference at the minute. So
yeah,
do you know what I mean? That's totally reachable. If they get a win and we only get a draw, they win by 1, it's down to 4. They win by 2 goals against.
Yeah, so there's 4 in at the moment. If
is it 4 now?
We lose, yeah, we lose. They win. It would be 1 point going down there to on the last game. Yeah. I'm not up for that, Steph. I am not up for that at all.
Don't fancy that at all.
No. So
yeah,
you
look,
do
I
it
don't
to keep your 4 point gap, and you do it in
that. It's not going to come to that. Yeah, we keep the 4 points. We want to keep the 4 points going down there. Like we said all the time, you don't give a what it is. Once it's 4 or more, you don't have to go there. You don't want to go. You don't want to go down there having to get any sort of a result, or even, the famous one a few years ago where Liverpool could still lose, but they couldn't lose by more than 2 or more, and you know how that went. So yeah, look, I don't want to be going down to Cove with goal difference in the mix or anything like the sort. So
we're doing it.
Just get the business, like it's the perfect opportunity. Get the business done, and then you can celebrate and go down to Cove and party mood.
Exactly. That's it. Mark, that's about as much as a glass half full. We can do this after a disastrous night in Athlone. And
did he not watch the game tonight?
Yeah. I think that's very good. Steph, you're always the 50-minute man, as I like to say. You're bang on with these 50-minute shows. I think, look, I think we just park the point that we got tonight and leave it at that. We can, because of that point tonight, I suppose the main thing is that we're able to take it to this Harps match and hopefully wrap up the title, which is completely put in our own hands in front of our own fans, which is, like I say, an ideal sort of a way and somewhat in dreamland. If we think back to the start of the season, we'll hopefully be back next. I don't know what way. Like, let's just wait and see what way this Harps match goes before we commit to it, when we're definitely back on. But we will be back at some stage for a post-match show on that. We'll do all the usual stuff then as well, our man of the match competitions and stuff like that as well. But as always, thanks to Vinny and the lads in Tony's Pizzeria, to Mark Carlin and all his lagging tonight, and everyone up in Black Mountain Studio, and to Donal Green and everyone at Dundalk Village as well. Steph, we'll keep the optimism and everything rolling in this week, and we'll go again for a Harps match. Of course, we had a little bit of fight with pizza last time we played Harps up there. A bit of pizza might have been thrown after. Let's hope there's some celebratory pizza being thrown around Oriel Park next week. What do you think?
Yeah, I love the Child of Prague for good weather as well. I'll have it out Thursday night for the match on Friday. Yeah, so hopefully better conditions and we do our business and get across the line. Confidence.
100%. That's it. I like it.
Confidence.
Greatness as always. As a great man once said. Well, look, until next time then, come on to town.
My black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white, yeah, it's black and white, we're just black